Like, I feel like it's such a good self-care investment to yourself to be able to read this book. I easily could have finished this book probably within a week, to even just sitting down with my son and reading through some of his favorite toddler book. Absolutely a beautiful, heart-wrenching story. We finally made it to my book review for some of my latest reads. If you're new here, my name is Sarah. I'm a mom to a 3-year-old, well, 3.5 right now. And one of my favorite pastimes that I discovered when I became a mom was I absolutely love reading. I knew I loved reading growing up. I kind of went through a phase of life where I was just super busy and forgot about books, which is so sad to say. All those years that I missed out on reading feels so sad to think about, but I'm so grateful that I rediscovered my love for reading. It is my favorite pastime. It's like my favorite self-care. I just absolutely love it. And if you've been thinking about starting to read again, I highly encourage you to pick up a book and just give it a try. It takes a little while to get into it. Like the habit of reading, I feel like you have to set time aside every day to read, to really get into it, but it is so worth it. And I also found my experience of reading can vary based on where I read. So if I go to a park and read outside, it is such a unique experience versus reading at home on a rainy day or right before bed to help kind of calm down my mind and my nerves from a busy day, to even just sitting down with my son and reading through some of his favorite toddler book. You can have so many different experiences reading just based on where you read. So highly encourage you to pick up a book if you've been thinking about it. So without further ado, let's just jump right into my most current book reviews. No particular order, but I'll start off with The Death of Jane Lawrence, written by Caitlin Starling. I kept seeing this book surface on my suggested read list on my library app, and I think Goodreads. It came out in 2021. There was a lot of great reviews on it, and I was really intrigued by the cover. I felt like it was giving me some major dark academia vibes, so I wanted to pick it up and give it a read. And I wasn't disappointed. I really enjoyed this read from start to finish. I do think there were some things the author could have done differently, but overall I think this was a solid read. I think I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. My next read was Bonfire by Kristen Ritter. I didn't know what to expect by this. I know Kristen Ritter, like a lot of people know her as an actress. So great, she's so funny. She's in a ton of other really great movies and TV shows. So I was surprised to find out that she wrote a book. This was written back in 2017. And I was really intrigued by it because I just like her as a person. Seemed like she's really into important topics. I know she's a vegan. Really like the vibe she gives off. I was kind of assuming this would have some darker themes within it. Overall, really solid book again. I would give this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Really great writing. I was super surprised by it. I wasn't really sure what to expect. And sometimes when you have an actor write a book, it's kind of a gamble. And with all of these books, I was pretty happy with. I feel like the last 6 months of reading, I kind of hit a good streak of books. These are all ones that I wanted to finish. They didn't seem like they were dragging at all. The next one I picked up was called Art Matters by Neil Gaiman, illustrated by Chris Riddell. This was another suggested book to me by my library's app. I think Libby is what it's called. I love Neil Gaiman. I enjoy books on art. So just reading the synopsis on this, I was really intrigued by what this was going to be about. It's just like a short, sweet read. So it's not like a huge commitment. But because of that, I feel like it really gets to the point. It punches you with its points right away. It hits on some of, I believe, Gaiman's actual experiences throughout his childhood and his life, and the importance of those experiences and how he became a writer. It was really great. I really enjoyed it. I think there's something everybody can take away from this book. It talks about libraries, which I loved. So yeah, I would give that a 3.5 out of 5 stars. One of the audiobooks that I picked up over the last few months that I don't have the book for. What I like to do is rent library books when I listen to audiobooks, and then I could just return it to the library. And that way I'm saving money, not bringing things into my home if I don't necessarily want the item, but if I love the book, then I know I can go out and buy the book and then have it at that point. So I don't know, it just is a system that works really well for me. Anyway, so my audiobook for the last few months was called Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alim. And this was a book that has won so many awards, National Book Award. The awards that this book has gotten is like a paragraph long. So if you haven't heard of this book, let me read you a little blurb about it. It is from the best-selling author of Rich and Pretty. Comes a suspenseful and provocative novel keenly attuned to the complexities of parenthood, race, and class. Leave the World Behind explores how our closest bonds are reshaped and unexpected new ones are forged in moments of crisis. And I just want to say that this book hits a little too close to home right now with the world that we're living in. Like, it touches on some really tough topics. This book takes place during an environmental crisis or something major happening. It has a similar feeling to what we've actually been living through over the last few years. So that makes this book a little difficult to read at times if you have anxiety about living in like such unpredictable times, having to like pick up and do things in survival mode. This might not be the best book for you to pick up and read right now. Maybe read it when you're a little more stable. There was a couple moments in this book where I felt like, ooh, I could literally go into a major panic right now. Persevered on through this, and I'm so glad I did. It's wonderfully written. It has some amazing takeaways. It was a really, really good read. And towards the end, there's some things in there that were like, ooh, that's a little much, a little intense. It got intense at the end. That's what happened. I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was called Thus Were Their Faces by Silviana Ocampo. I adored this book, and I loved all the short stories in here. There's something about her writing that I couldn't quite put my finger on that I really enjoyed. She tells all these different stories from different viewpoints, and I'm like, how can she put herself into these millions of shoes and do it so flawlessly? I feel like that's got to be a sign of a great writer. Her stories have this subtle, disturbing underlying theme throughout some of them. I wouldn't say all of them, but there's quite a few in there that'll just leave you like, ugh, at the end. And not in like a forceful way. She does it so smoothly, and it's a nice, thought-provoking ride. I really enjoyed this book. This was brought to my attention by an online dark academia book club that I was in, and I'm so glad that I stumbled upon it, because that's one I think I would want to go back and reread some of the specific short stories that I enjoyed the most. I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. The next one on my list is The Project by Courtney Summers. I really enjoy Courtney Summers' writing style. My first audiobook that I ever listened to was Sadie by Courtney Summers. I fell in love. Absolutely a beautiful, heart-wrenching story. And I wanted some of that same feeling from this book, and I don't think I enjoyed it as much as Sadie, but it was a pretty good read. I can't figure out when this one came out, but I know it was in the last couple of years. It's fairly new. I know she has an even newer book coming out last month. I think it came out last month, actually. I'm gonna have to get that. But yeah, this is a fun read. I would give it like 3 out of 5 stars, I would say. Not too bad. Alright, to round out my book list, the other book I read that I've kind of just been reading for months, I've been taking my time with this, is The Snow Empress, written by Laura Jo Rowland. Fantastic book, fantastic writing, super easy to read. The way that she ends her chapters are just always like cliffhangers. Like if you would watch in a movie, you just immediately want to go to the next chapter. And I really enjoyed that about this book. I easily could have finished this book probably within a week, but I wanted to pace myself on it because I was like, oh my goodness, I finally found a book I liked. This one I've started reading before all the other ones I just showed you, and I took my time to finish reading it. I think after I wrapped all those up maybe. And it just so happened this was the one that like kicked off my good book streak, and I'm so happy about it. I really enjoyed it. I could see this becoming a movie if it's not already. I wonder if it is a movie. I don't think they made it into a movie, and that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad to find out because this easily could have been translated to a movie. She sets it up for, I believe, like a movie script and like the set designers so well for them to be able to take something and run with it. It was fantastic. There's spirits. The city is a spirit. There are spirits living inside of a main character that takes over this main character of the city. And there's mystery murder. I think it's a really cool commentary on what a mother would do for her child and the things she would go through. There's just so many cool takeaways from this book, so highly recommend it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I love it. I need to either get like a better copy or tape this again because it got ripped a little bit, but yeah. So I hope you enjoyed my book review of the last bunch of books that I read, the last batch of books. Like I said, I was on a great uphill climb of reading some really wonderful books. I'm so happy about that. I want to continue that for the rest of 2022. I've kind of compiled a list of like bucket list books that I want to read and really focus on some of those titles that I know are going to deliver a lot for me. A lot of substance, a lot of takeaways, a lot of learning about myself and the world around me. And just continue on this amazing hobby that I've been able to do. The hardest part is finding the time to do it as a mom. But again, like I feel like it's such a good self-care investment to yourself to be able to read. So I hope you enjoyed. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Let me know what you've currently been reading and what has been like your favorite books that you've picked up over the last 6 months or so. Like I said, I'm looking for some really good titles to pick up, so let me know down below. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I would love it if you would hit subscribe and hang out with me. I will see you in the next one. Take care and stay well. Bye!